Hi everybody, this is Brian David Marshall coming to you from the floor of Grand Prix Vancouver. I am here with Paul Dunn. Paul has just won a Grand Prix trial, which means he gets 2 buys to start off the tournament today. Gives us an opportunity to talk about his deck. It's a really interesting mono black deck. It is not the mono black deck you've seen dominating Grand Prix for the last few weeks. Paul, what the heck is going on with this deck?
Well, it's basically a mono black aggro deck. It feeds on the devotion mechanic, the heroic mechanic, and the bestow mechanic. So it's not something you're kind of seeing too often. We haven't seen a lot of heroic in standard construction. Cards like Night Howler are strong, but still they haven't seen a lot of play. They've been in very few decks. So I'm really taking advantage of some faster threats with Tormented Hero, traditional Pack Rat. I'm even playing Agent of Fate here, just kind of, feed off that bestow mechanic, and with my auras like Gift of Azova.
All right, so let's talk this through. So we know these cards up here.
Right.
We know Pack Rat, and we know
everybody knows.
Yeah, this is like the classic opening for the mono black deck. Look at your hand, see if the coast is clear, play my Pack Rat, make Pack Rat soon.
Right. Make them deal with it. Right.
Yeah. But then things get weird. We have Ring Flash as your removal spell of choice.
So, I'm only running about 6 removal spells here. I'm running 2 Heroes Downfalls and 4 Ring Flash. Ring Flash deals with some of the key cards and some of the key decks, like Master Waves, Pack Rat. It's great in the mirror there.
Gets like a blue creature.
Exactly. Get rid of some, and not only that, but because I can do those early threats or help in the blocks that I make, and just get more creatures in the grave, it feeds the Night Howler later on.
Okay, so the Tormented Hero, this is not, you talked about the heroic mechanic.
Yeah.
This might be the heroic mechanic's debut in standard. I've barely seen this mechanic.
It doesn't come down that often. But
by the way, Rashad Miller's super happy that Tormented Hero is getting its day in the sun.
It's just a little more extra pressure early to make them use up some of those removal spells they have, so that when I finally do get around to playing some of the better stuff like Night Howler on something, or like a Grey Merchant comes down and I throw a Gift of Azova on it or something like that, they won't have as much gas to kind of throw at me.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing there. I just want some extra early threats so they put a little more pressure on them early game.
So you got 4 Mutavaults. This is also a little bit of early
standard
pressure.
Goes with Pack Rat. You're like Grey Merchant, Mutavault, Thoughtseize, Pack Rat. That's what you're going to run in Underworld Connections. You're going to run in that in your standard build. So I got some of that game that you have against control decks.
Yeah.
But now I'm just coming out a little bit faster out of the gates with some tricky stuff and some against the other decks basically.
This is of course the card I want to talk about.
Agent of Fates, seeing no play really.
None.
No play.
No, this is an exciting card, right? This has a very Liliana of the Veil kind of effect, right?
Yeah.
Making your opponent sacrifice a creature is a powerful effect, especially when it's repeatable.
Exactly. So I have Ring Flash, like I said, Night Howler, and Azova can trigger that. It has Death Touch, which a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
Right? So you get situations where they're doing effects. What's the format of green card? Polychronus or
Polychronus.
Polychronus. Like when they activate that and target that, they don't realize it's going to kill it.
Oh, very
because
nice.
It has Death Touch, and so you get in some funny play situations with it. But yeah, Agent of Fate, it's great, and like some of the decks like Mono Blue don't run a lot of removal. Green White, which is a little bit of a tough matchup, but they can't remove like a 4/3 flyer with lifelink.
And this is actually this is also one of the few ways to kill a monstrous Fleecemane Lion in the format, right? Because you can force them to sacrifice it. So how many ways do you have to target this? You could target it with your own Ring Flash.
Right. I can target it with my Night Howlers, and I can target it with my Gifts of Azova.
And what's nice with the Night Howler is you actually get some value out of the Night Howler when you target the Agent of Fate, because they have to sacrifice a creature.
The innovation with the bestow mechanic is excellent. Like I really like it. We're seeing it a lot now with the 4/2 green.
The Boon Satyr.
Yeah, Boon Satyr. You see that a lot, but still a lot of people aren't used to playing against it. So people don't know about how the mechanic works when you kill the creature that you're trying to enchant, or if you kill the creature before combat and it already has a bestow on it.
I was just saying, I have to imagine that there's also situations where you have a Night Howler on a creature, you have a board, your opponent casts Supreme Verdict. Then you end up with like a 6/6 Night Howler just sitting on the table waiting for you to untap.
It gives you that resiliency that you need against like board sweepers, and that's good. That's really, really good.
Okay, so we talked about the Grey Merchant of Astrodal. You said just kind of a standard player.
Yeah.
Heroes Downfall, just 2.
Yeah, just 2. Because like these get rid of Planewalkers and obviously and creatures. But a lot of times people will lay down a Planeswalker, and the gift of Azova can kind of almost double like a Hero's Downfall because you now have a flyer to kill the Planeswalker.
Right.
And they're not expecting that.
So this card does a lot in your deck. It gains
does.
you life for your underworld connections.
Exactly.
It targets your Agent of Fates.
Right.
It flies over to kill Planeswalkers. That's what we call a multitask.
Yeah, and it makes Night Howler a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really bad.
Oh yeah, Night Howler getting in for 7 or something.
Well, I had a game yesterday where I was playing against mono blue. He wasted his only removal on my pack rat. I laid one earlier at turn 4, and I ended up beating him with double Bestow Night Howler and Gifts of Rezova, and I was gaining like 14 life a swing. It's crazy.
So you can find Paul's deck list on the text coverage. We have all the Grand Prix trial winning deck lists, but just gonna quickly just lay out the sideboard for you. So you want to take a look.
There should be another one.
Oh, there it is, hiding. 4/4. 4. So like, where are you bringing in all this removal?
Okay, so against the control matchups, you're bringing in the Duresses, and against mono black, you're bringing in the Dark Betrayals, and then basically what you're doing is you're taking out. Since there's kind of a mixed match in the main for against aggro and against control. If you're playing against a mostly aggro deck, you're just going to bring in the relevant removal. Okay. I'd say that the only kind of weak point of the deck is that I have like dealing with a turn 3 Spectre is pretty tricky.
Sure.
Because I'm playing black, of course, unless I get an agent to fade out right away and they have no other creatures. And I pretty well have to play around Blood Baron. But if I can life link as well, I can match them, right?
Sure.
So it's not so bad. But yeah, anyway, I just kind of the Freakus Cure for against the red decks.
Sure.
Right? Just gets rid of they got loads of 2/2s, gets rid of those. Doomblade, of course, comes in, and any non-black deck.
What doesn't Doomblade do?
Exactly, it kills just about everything, except for the 2 cards I mentioned earlier.
Kills every preview card ever printed.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
the first comment, dies to Doomblade.
So, against the control decks, you mostly want to play kind of like the same way everyone else is doing. Try to get card advantage off under roll connections. Disrupt their hand as much as possible with now 7 discard spells, and just keep on beating them down as fast as you can.
Cool. Well, there you have it. Paul Dunn, Spring Dave Marshall. If you thought that there was only one way to skin a pack rat in Standard, the weekend before the release of Born of the Gods, Paul Dunn shows you a new way to do it. This is Brian David Marshall signing off from the floor of Grand Prix Vancouver.
See you later.